So the next thing to do is let's configure routing on ASA2. Before we go to firewall policies, let's configure routing on ASA2. So my network runs in EIGRP show run section router. EIGRP 50. Let's go on the ASA and enable EIGRP on the connected interfaces. Router EIGRP 50. And let's say network 136.1.47.0. So wildcard, I'm not using wildcard mask but subnet mask. No auto summary. And network 136.1.37.0. And no shut. There you go. So show EIGRP neighbors. There you go. I am a neighbor with router 3. With router 3 on gig 01 and on router 4 on gig 00. Let's also enable the EIGRP authentication between, for example, ASA3 and router 4. Since we're here, I thought we're going to do that. We have been speaking about authentication, but we have not done it yet. So let's go on ASA3 and enable EIGRP authentication on router 4. So as you remember, on ASA3, I just go at the interface level, interface gig 00, and I say EIGRP authentication, EIGRP authentication, IP EIGRP authentication, show run interface gig 00. Okay, interface gigabit 00. Authentication mode EIGRP 50 MD5 and authentication key EIGRP 50 authentication key EIGRP, there's number, and then I gotta put the key string is gonna be CISCO EIGRP and key ID, let's say 10. So I gotta make sure I gotta use the same key ID number, the same key number, and the same key string on router 4. But on the router, I'm gonna configure those on the on the keychain level. Now, if you say show EIGRP neighbors, the neighborhood router 4 went down because ASA is configured for authentication, which means all packets are going to be authenticated, but router 4 not. Router 4, let's say conf keychain EIGRP authentication, and I gotta use the same key number, key 10, and key string. It was CISCO EIGRP. And then you go at the physical level of FFA00 and you say you enable authentication IP EIGRP likewise IP authentication mode EIGRP 50 MD5, and then you specify the keychain IP authentication keychain EIGRP 50 and the name of the keychain, which was EIGRP auth. So on the router, it's one more step to define the keychain, and then you reference the keychain at the interface level. And now ASA3 should become back a neighbor with the router show EIGRP neighbors. And there we go, it became a neighbor router 4 again. And if you say show EIGRP interfaces, detail, let's say outside detail. Not sure if I should put the detail before or after. Let's see, internet detail. Yeah, I should put it before. So it should say, there we go. It says authentication mode is MD5. Key is, and the key is not showed up. It says removed, and key ID is number 10. Now the key is removed. It's for security reasons. If you say show run interface gigabit 00, you're not going to see the key in running mode either. So if you want to see the key, it's hidden for security purposes to defend against shoulder watching. You got to say more system running config, and then say begin. That I don't want to see the whole config, only beginning from that point on. So with the more command, we actually see also the keys which have been hidden from show run or from other show commands for security reasons to defend against shoulder watching. Likewise, if you go on the router 4, and if you say show IP, EIGRP interfaces, F800 detail, interface says detail F800. There we go. It says authentication mode is MD5, and I'm using keychain of this. And if you say show keychain, you should see, of course, the key number and the key string. Key number of 10 and key string of CISCO EIGRP. Just to confirm routing is working, ASA3, I should see a route for the loopback router 4, show route internet. I should see the loopback router 4 is a EIGRP route, and there we go. So you see the routing table is divided based on the name ifs. So this EIGRP route for this prefix is reachable out on the internet interface, on the name if of internet. Is not going to display the physical interface, but the name if, as I was saying. So everything is going to be tied up to the name if, routing, firewall policies, NAT, NPF, whatever we're going to do is going to be tied out to the interfaces. In the newer codes, they have added on the ASA security zones feature, but that's not in the scope of the CCNA blueprint. So in the newer codes, I think in 9.2.1, they added the concept of security zones, so we can actually bridge multiple logical name ifs or in the end physical interfaces in security zones. That's for another scope, either way. So we have done basic configuration, routing with the EIGRP authentication. Now let's make sure I can actually manage the ASA from, for example, from testpca. So testpca ASA to be show SSH. It says versions allowed 1 and 2. Let's say that's show SSH. Show crypto key show. Let's make sure I have an RSA key pair generator. Show crypto key RSA generate. Crypto key mypub key RSA. So SSH was enabled because I have a built-in key, a built-in public private key RSA key pair. That's why SSH was enabled. But either way, if you go on testpca, I'm going to try, for example, an telnet or SSH to manage the ASA on this interface is not going to work. Let's go on testpca and really and quickly try an SSH to the ASA's IP address. Let's open up PuTTY. And let's say I want to an SSH to 136.1.47.16. I should be able to ping it. Not 47, but 37. There we go. So let's try an SSH to that IP address 37.16, and it should, of course, fail. Doesn't open up. And I think if you say show ASP drop, it doesn't tell you why, but either way. So let's go, and first, as I was saying, you gotta first enable SSH, which I have enabled at version 2. It was enabled because RSA keeper was generated. And next I gotta make sure I configure username and password. Username, ASA user, privilege 15 of course, password, ASA password, privilege 15. And then I'm gonna say SSH, so username is configured. I gotta say A authentication, SSH, console local. Now the console, it's a very misleading keyword. This actually means it's just the way the command is being configured. So that means enable A authentication for SSH using the local user database, which that's what I want to do. And the last step is I want to allow SSH to come in. If you look at the diagram, we're going to configure the SA to allow inbound SSH sessions from the IP address of test PC to come inbound on gig01, which is your inside interface. Let's confirm the IP address of test PC before we move on. Let's go on test PC A and let's say IP config. And it has an IP address of 96.51. So I'm going to go on the SA and say I allow SSH sessions from 172.16.96.51 inbound on the inside interface. And there we go. Now I should be able to SSH, open up PuTTY again, close it. 136.1.47.16, 37.16. Yes, and I want to say ASA user and ASA pass. Enable, now enable password conft. There we go, I'm on the ASA. But of course I'm gonna make use also of the ASDM. So let's open up ASDM, which is gonna require an HTTPS session. So let's go on the SA and enable also the HTTPS server. HTTP okay, and then AA authentication, HTTP console local. If for SSH session the user didn't necessarily need the privilege level 15, for HTTP it requires the level 15, the user that's going to be used for connecting in the GUI to authenticate on the SA via the SDM client, which is going to be via HTTPS session to the SA. So I have the username with level of 15. There we go. I have enabled HTTP, show HTTP, show HTTP. It is enabled, and then I got a last thing to do is what I did for SSH. I gotta also allow HTTP sessions from this IP address on the inside. Let's say write memory, and then let's go in here and say 136.1.37.16 is going to be ASA user and ASA pass. Say OK, and there we go, continue. Now of course for this to work you gotta have this configuration also done. their flash. You gotta make sure that you have ASDM running in flash. Either way, I'm connected, as you can see. Configuration and home, and pretty much that's it. So for the moment, we have seen the basic configuration, IP addresses, name ifs, and security levels. We have seen the remote management configuration, the run protocol authentication.